Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are dusting off a book that I suspect a lot of you have on your shelf right now.
Oh, for sure.
It might be on your nightstand, maybe collecting a bit of dust or buried in that to-be-read pile.
Or you've read it 5 times and highlighted the whole thing. It's one of those books. It has a real following.
We are talking about Emilie Cady, and that's pronounced K-D. Specifically, her absolute classic, Lessons in Truth.
A seminal work, truly. I mean, if you're in the New Thought space, or even just interested in the history of self-help, Cady is bedrock. She wrote these in the late 1800s.
And they still sell thousands of copies.
Yeah.
But here's why we wanted to pull this specific text today. We're not just doing a book report.
Yeah.
There's this very common, very specific frustration with Cady's work. I've felt it. I know you have. You read the words, and they sound majestic. They sound true. You're nodding along thinking, yes, mind is the builder.
You feel that surge of inspiration.
Exactly. But then you close the book, wake up the next morning, you look at your bank account, and it's still the same. Or your health, or that career wall you keep hitting, and nothing has actually changed. The inspiration didn't translate.
It's the gap between intellectual assent and, actual demonstration. It's like reading a car manual, understanding the diagrams.
And then going out to the garage and just staring at a pile of parts.
A pile of parts, exactly. You don't know where the bolt goes.
So our mission today is to bridge that gap. We're zooming in on Chapter 6, Faith. And we're going to try to strip away the whole sermon vibe.
Yeah, this isn't theology.
We're treating it like a technical manual for how the universe functions.
We're looking for the mechanics, because that's what Cady is offering. It's a kind of physics of the mind, and if you get the physics, you can build the bridge.
Okay, so let's start with the definition, because I think the word faith just carries so much baggage.
It really does.
I hear faith, and I think blind trust. Just, gritting my teeth and hoping things work out even when all the evidence says they won't.
And that's where most people get stuck. But Cady is so specific here. She says faith is not an emotion. It's not hope. She calls it a perceiving power of the mind.
A perceiving power. That sounds active.
It's a faculty, like hearing or seeing. She defines it as the ability to take hold of substance, which is invisible, and bring it into evidence, which is visible.
Okay, hold on. Taking hold of substance. That sounds like we're reaching into a fog and pulling out a brick.
That's actually a great way to think about it. It's a conversion tool. You have this formless potential, this energy, and faith is the specific mechanism, the machine, that converts it into a formed reality.
So it's not passive waiting. It's an active tool.
It's a muscle you flex, incredibly active. And to really get how it works, Cady splits it into 2 types. This is crucial because I think most of us operate on the first one, which is blind faith.
Which is what I described, that gut feeling, the Hail Mary pass.
Instinctive trust.
Yeah.
And she says, to be fair, that it works sometimes. People get healings. They have breakthroughs with blind faith.
But there's a catch.
The catch is reliability. It's like, the Fonzie method. Hitting the jukebox to get it to play.
Right. Just give it a good whack.
Exactly. Sometimes the song plays, sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, you have no idea why. You're just hitting the machine, getting frustrated.
Because you don't know the wiring inside.
You don't know the law. And that brings us to understanding faith. This is what we're aiming for. It's based on immutable principle. It's scientific. And she uses this fantastic analogy from geometry.
The triangle. I remember this part. This is where I thought, okay, this isn't a sermon, this is a math lesson.
It's the perfect way to ground it. The principle is this. The sum of the angles of a triangle always equals 2 right angles. Always.
Doesn't matter if it's big or small.
Or if you draw it in the sand or on a blackboard. Or, and this is her image, if you draw it leagues under the sea.
Right. Crushed by pressure in the dark.
Even with all that pressure, the laws of geometry haven't changed. The sum of the angles is still the same. The environment does not change the principle.
So if I apply that, the pressure of the sea is my debt or my illness.
That's it. The water pressure is the external facts, the evidence of your senses. The bank account says 0. The doctor's report says sick. But understanding faith says the external pressure doesn't change the internal law.
The spiritual law.
The spiritual law that says wholeness is the reality, abundance is the reality. It stands on that law no matter where the triangle is drawn.
That is a very hard pivot for the intellect, though. My intellect is wired to analyze the environment to keep me safe. It sees a bill, it says panic.
And Cady says you have to transcend that. She distinguishes between the intellect and intuition. The intellect is a historian. It can only report on what's already visible.
It's bound by the senses.
But intuition She says it's the open end of a channel connecting you to the source.
I highlighted this part. A ray of light shooting out from a central sun.
Yes, your intellect can't see the whole sun, it's too big. But your intuition is that ray of light. And faith is born from that. It sees the geometry of the situation, even when the water pressure is screaming that you're drowning.
Okay, so if we're going to apply this science, we need to understand what we're working with. You said converting substance. We have to define substance.
This is maybe the most critical definition in the whole book. If you get this wrong, nothing else works.
Because it doesn't mean goo.
Right. When Cady says God as substance, she's not talking about a man on a cloud or physical matter. She's talking about mind essence, primal energy,
The invisible stuff that everything is made of.
the stuff that stands under all creation,
Yeah.
substance. And there's this brilliant analogy often attributed to Reverend Johnny Coleman that compares this substance to dough.
The dough analogy. This is the light bulb moment for me. It makes it so practical.
It does. So imagine universal substance, God, whatever you want to call it, as a massive infinite piece of dough. Now, this dough is totally neutral. It has no shape. It has no opinion. It's just pure potential waiting.
And we are the bakers with a cookie cutter.
We are. And that cookie cutter is your mind, your prevailing thoughts, your beliefs, your deep-seated expectations. That's the shape of the cutter. Faith is the action of pressing that cutter into the dough.
And this is where it gets, well, a little confronting. Because if I press a poverty-shaped cutter into this infinite dough,
The dough says, okay, here is your poverty. It yields. That's the key word. It yields to the demand.
it doesn't judge. It doesn't say, oh, you'd probably prefer a prosperity cookie.
No, it just gives you exactly what you cut out. It's impersonal in its mechanics, just like electricity is impersonal. It'll light your house or it'll electrocute you. It just follows the path.
This just completely changes the blame game. Because normally we say, why is the universe doing this to me? But the dough is perfect. The problem is my cutter.
If you don't like the cookie you're eating, your reality, you don't blame the dough. You have to change the cutter. You have to change the mental state.
Which is empowering, but also terrifying. The responsibility is all on us.
It is, but that's where the power is. If you're the one who cut the poverty cookie, you're the only one who can bend the metal into a new shape. You have the agency.
Okay, so we have the dough, we have the cutter. Now, the mechanism of supply. Because Cady totally flips economics on its head here.
The law of supply and demand.
Right. In the normal world, demand comes first, then supply follows. But Cady says no.
She says the exact opposite. In the spiritual realm, supply precedes demand.
The supply of every good always awaits the demand. That's the quote.
It's a profound shift. The health, the wealth, the love, it's already there. It's in that invisible realm of substance, waiting, like the air in the room is there before you breathe it.
But, and this is the big but, it can't come forth until the demand is made.
Right. She says asking touches a secret spring that starts the good moving toward you. But if you don't touch the spring,
Nothing moves.
think of a water faucet. That's her other big analogy. The water is in the pipes, it's pressurized, it's ready to flow. But if you just sit in front of the sink waiting for it to pour out,
You're going to be very thirsty.
you are. You have to turn the handle. The demand is turning the handle.
This is the no demand, no supply rule. You can't just sit back and say, well, God knows what I need. It'll just show up.
That is the trap of passivity. It sounds pious, like surrender.
Yeah.
But Cady would say that's abdication. The law requires you to place the demand to activate the flow. You have to engage the mechanism.
And this leads right into something I think so many of us struggle with, especially from certain religious backgrounds. Desire. The idea that wanting things is selfish or bad.
Oh, a total recontextualization. She basically argues your desire is the proof that the thing you want already exists for you.
Okay, explain that. Because my first thought is, I desire it because I don't have it.
That's the intellect again. Cady says desire is God tapping at the door of your consciousness. She uses this word, incipiency. Desire is the thing itself in incipiency, in its beginning stages.
So the fact that I want the thing means the thing is trying to get to me.
Yes. If the thing didn't already exist for you, in the invisible realm, in the dough, you couldn't even desire it. You wouldn't have the concept for it.
So that nagging feeling that you want a better home or to write a book, that isn't you being greedy.
It's life-seeking, fuller expression through you.
Yeah.
It's the universe trying to expand. God pushes on that spark to make us want more because that is how we grow.
Now, we have to put a giant asterisk here because someone is going to hear this and say, great, I desire my neighbor's Ferrari.
Or their spouse.
Yes.
And the source material addresses that specific neighbor's wife scenario head on.
And it's not just a moral rule, is it? It's a mechanical correction.
Exactly. Caddy says if you think you desire your neighbor's wife or their specific car, you are mistaken. You're misidentifying the desire. You cannot truly desire what belongs to another's expression of life.
So what am I actually desiring?
The equivalent quality. You look at the neighbor's relationship and you see love, companionship, security. That's what you want. The neighbor's wife is just the symbol your mind grabbed onto.
That's so helpful. It stops being a lecture and becomes a physics lesson again. I'm confusing the symbol with the substance.
Right. So you stop obsessing over the specific thing that isn't yours and you focus on the essence. I desire love. I desire companionship. And the universe, the dough, will shape that for you in your own way.
Okay, we have the theory. The dough, the faucet, desire, no, the RX, the prescription. How do we actually do this?
It starts with our inner language, how we pray, how we affirm. We have to shift from begging to claiming.
The please, please, please versus the thank you.
Exactly. The source quotes Mark 11:24, believe that you have received it. Past tense, completed action. You don't pray to get something. You pray to be the thing.
Give me a concrete example of that difference.
Okay, a begging prayer is, God, please make me healthy. Please take away this pain. I'm so sick.
I've prayed that prayer.
We all have. But look at your cookie cutter. You're just affirming sickness over and over. The scientific application is, I am health. Wholeness is my truth now. You align your cutter with the reality you want, as if it's already here.
Because if I say I want to be healthy, I'm really saying I am not healthy.
Precisely. You are reinforcing the lack. You have to create the conditions of mind that match the result you want.
But that is so hard when the evidence is shouting at you.
Yeah.
The text talks about the mental groove.
The stark record. If you've been worrying about money for 10 years, you've worn a deep groove in that vinyl. The needle of your mind just naturally slides right back into it.
So even if I say an affirmation, 5 minutes later, I'm back in the I'm broke groove.
Yes. And when you're in that groove, you're accidentally using the law of fate against yourself. You're pressing the anxiety cutter into the dough again and again.
So how do we break out of it?
Discipline. You have to interrupt the pattern. Cady advises using denials and affirmations silently, all the time, in the car, on the street, when you wake up at night.
Okay, denials. That sounds negative, like we're pretending the problem doesn't exist.
Good distinction. A denial here isn't saying the bill doesn't exist. It's denying the power of the bill. It's saying this appearance of lack has no power over me. This is not the final truth. You're revoking its authority.
You're cutting the power cord to the fear.
Exactly. And then you immediately follow it with the affirmation, my supply is infinite, or I am whole. You're consciously creating a new groove.
It's like weeding and planting.
Yeah.
The denial pulls the weed, the affirmation plants the seed.
And you do it constantly, not just on Sunday morning. You do it when you're stuck in traffic, when you're looking at a bill. You are constantly reshaping that cookie cutter.
It sounds like discipline is the missing ingredient. We want the magic words, but Cady is saying this is mental work.
It's the hardest work there is, which is why so few people do it consistently. But you have to hold the cutter steady until the form takes shape.
So let's bring this all together. To recap, faith isn't magic, it's mechanics.
A spiritual faculty, like geometry or gravity.
We have this invisible dough, the substance, and our mind is the cookie cutter.
And don't forget the faucet. The supply is always there, but no demand, no supply. You have to turn the handle. You have to claim it.
And claiming isn't begging, it's taking in the sense of recognizing the law.
Right. When you pick up a package that was mailed to you, you aren't begging the clerk for it. You're claiming it. It has your name on it. Cady is telling us the universe has put our name on our desires. Go pick them up.
That's the shift. Stop waiting for delivery and go to the pickup counter.
Exactly.
So I want to leave everyone with a final thought from the text that really stuck with me. We talked about desire being God knocking.
The delivery truck honking outside.
Right. So here's the question to carry into your week. If desire is actually the thing itself trying to get to you, what is the specific desire you've been ignoring? The thing you've suppressed because you thought it wasn't spiritual enough or possible.
And what if that nagging want isn't a distraction from your life? What if it's the delivery truck honking outside your house just waiting for you to open the door?
Go open the door. Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.